you!
Truth that you uncover, because the truth will set you free.
Another thing that gives them a problem here are the out-of-body travelers. Now, Northwest Airlines hires Search and Prove, which is a group of out-of-body travelers. What they do is to go into the wings of the 747s, and they've been taught what to look for, and they come back and accurately tell them where there's a stress point here and a stress point there. Now, they're going out-of-body.
Northwest Airlines,
Northwest Airlines.
Northwest Airlines, out-of-body travelers.
We have an official research team here, folks. This is the best here.
Let me throw this in, too, in relation to Steve, because I'm also feeling that Steve is wanting to say something, and I'd like to say it before he does. What we are actually originally talking about is the division between theology, religion, and science. And again, we have to go back to fine. We could talk about reincarnation and whatever, and these are, quote, spiritual concepts, etc. But again, I have to agree with Steve that there's so much that we need to actually look at that's already been proven, that is actual hard science that we've already proven that we're not being privy to know about. And these other things are interesting and fascinating, and there may even be something to them possibly, but we still need to look at the war that is going on between belief and religion as opposed to actual provable factual science.
I agree with that, and I also agree with Bill in the way that with my research, I found that there are parts of the government and parts of organized religion that know about what we speak of, and that keep it from us. Therefore, it's part of the media that does not present this to the mainstream people, and we're kept in the dark.
So they look upon...
Is that right, Bill?
This is true. They look upon change, or the changing of the status quo, as something that is very, very detrimental to their maintaining power.
Right.
And particularly when it comes to science. The science, for instance, in the energy group now, there are new ways to develop energy. And they have nothing to do with the sunshine or the wind or all of that. There are new ways of doing it. It's in the scalar fields, or what we call the search for 0 point. And they are now beginning to absolutely take away money from universities, government money from universities who are involved in the development of this science, which we know is there. Because now you really are getting at their power structure when you start getting at petroleum as a fuel. They don't care about the fact that it's destroying our Earth. They're caring about the flow of money and the power that comes from it. There are a number of scientists that are also fighting this very desperately.
Right. The almighty corporations again, where it's money and power as opposed to truth.
In relation to this subject, there's a very important book out, a very thick book called Thy Will Be Done. The connection is a very well written, very authoritatively written book on the connecting of the oil industry's money behind certain church movements, the financing of Billy Graham's crusades, the financing of Christians in Action Airlines taking food to the poor in Central and South America. Christians in Action, we find out, was actually CIA, and consequently there's been so many religious movements that are being financed by oil companies, large industries.
The book is titled Thy Will Be Done.
Thy Will Be Done. It's a fascinating reference book on the corporations.
I'm just going to hand it to him. Thank you.
Yes. Corporations that finance clergymen and pastors in the church movements in Central and South America.
We are a remarkable group of skeptics.
Thank God. I think doubt produces wisdom.
Just along that line, I think if you wanted a microcosm of our society, and Karen Armstrong, who is a wonderful author and researcher, has written a book. It's called Jerusalem, One City, Three Faiths. And there you will see basically where religion, politics, military, natural resources, money all come together. And everyone has a vested interest. And you have three religions, and if you took the Christian religion, Judaism, and the Islamic religion, and you put them side by side with their saviors, with their stories, with their hierarchy, with their spiritualism, and with all their cultural myths, you'd have a hard time really seeing any difference. However, these three religious groups represent interests, whether it's the United States, whether it's the UN, whether it's Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and they've all come in to supposedly, and here again, the cultural myths we live by, the cradle of civilization. The cradle of civilization, and we all know this, Steve has two very good books on this, and Bill has spoken on his radio program and Jordan lectures, and it's in our book. The cradle of civilization goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But for the order of things, whether it's the Western Alliance, whether it's the European marketplace or whatever, it's convenient to have despite all the facts, it's always convenient to have the cradle of civilization and spirituality and salvation in the holy city of Jerusalem. And it's perpetual.
Whether in reality it is or not.
It's not, yeah. It's convenient to keep all the parts together.
Now, something that, if I may, just on Jerusalem, there's another reason for that. I want you to imagine in your mind a globe. And we have the largest landmass on the earth is the African, Asian, European continent. And what's right in the middle of that? The Middle East. Mm-hmm. That is the crossroads of that huge landmass, which was where most of the civilization was. There was North and South America over here. Right. That came up later. So here's where all of these things are crossing paths with each other.
Right. Something Steve wrote in one of his books that has stuck with me. He brought out how in Nazi Germany, what happened, the Germans were not a animalistic and a barbarous people. They were just people in the grip of an idea, and good people, educated people.
They were the most educated people in Europe and the most religious.
Right.
Kind of a scary fact.
Is that in this book here? I just so happen to have a copy of it?
Yes. I wrote 2 volumes. It actually was one manuscript, but it was so long they made 2 books out of it. My title for it was The Mystery of the Bible, because the Bible is, to this moment, profoundly mysterious, although there have been scores of thousands of books analyzing it from many points of view. However, the publisher chose to change the title to put my name into it, Steve Allen, on the Bible, Religion, and Morality. This brings us back, or at least brings me back, to the unresolved question about reincarnation. When I said so what, I wasn't being facetious. I mean, what should we assume or conclude or hope for if A is a fact? Jesus, and I'm sure many other prophets, existing or not, are quoted as having said, in effect, by their fruits you shall know them, by the results. What does something produce? And if it produces good results, then to that extent anyway, it's a pretty good thing. But what if there are reincarnation experiences, either for everybody who ever lived or for 8%, whoever knows what the reality is? Does that make them better or worse people? How do they behave? In other words, there are many forms of this question. What does it mean if you were a Lutheran? Does that make you a better human being than you were before you became a Lutheran? In many cases, as I observe actual believers, I don't see that they're any great example any great role model for their team. We could all name certain individuals who are deplorable human beings, and yet they're pretty proud of being Jews, Catholics, whatever they are. So what if we are brought back every 412 years, or as soon as your grandmother dies, or whatever the system is? Does this mean we're better now than we were in 1702? And if not, what's the point?
Well,
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
This is the end for you, my master.